Hey friends, Miss Liz here again. Today we are making molasses crinkles. This is a great fall and winter cookie. It's a really nice spicy cookie. It kind of reminds me of a soft, chewy ginger snap. So a big difference between this cookie and some of our others is we're actually using shortening as one of the main fat bases. Shortening gives you a very crisp edge, but still a chewy center. It has a higher melting point, a faster melting point, I should say, than butter. And so the fat liquefies more quickly, gives you a very crisp edge while still being a really nice chewy cookie. It's delicious. You can absolutely do all butter for this. It will change that texture a little bit. So if you want that really traditional molasses crinkle texture, you are going to want to use shortening. So to start with, we are going to start with our dry ingredients first. So we're going to do 2 1/4 cups of flour. We're going to get all our dry goods mixed together, and then we will mix the wet ingredients and then combine them together. So 2 1/4, there's my 1/4. Again, making sure we have a nice light, airy, fluffy texture. If you don't want to sift with a second scoop, you can do kind of a shuffling motion. Make sure your flour is nice and loose. Let it kind of fall in, make sure it's level. Make sure we're not packing that flour down. We're keeping it nice, light, and airy. 2 1/4 of flour. Push that to the side. We're gonna do baking soda as our main leavening agent in this one. So we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Baking soda gives us a nice crisp cookie. When we use powder, baking powder, or cream of tartar, we have a much chewier texture. This is going to give us a really nice crisp edge, still chewy in the center, absolutely delicious. We're going to do 1/4 a teaspoon of salt. This is like the smallest amount of salt in the world. It's just enough. This is a really spicy cookie. So we're just kind of giving it a little bit of oomph so it's not such a neutral flavored cookie, just a teeny tiny bit of salt, okay? 1/4 a teaspoon of salt, mix that together, and then we're gonna add in our spices. So in our spices, we're doing 1/2 teaspoon of clove. Clove has a very distinct flavor, very lovely smell. It's very, very delicious, but it's also very concentrated, so you don't need too much. Oh, it smells so good. So we're doing 1/2 teaspoon of clove. 1/2 teaspoon. Okay. And then we're also doing 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of ginger. So 1 teaspoon of each of these. This is a delicious cookie. This is a common one at my house. We do at Thanksgiving. Has all of very similar spice profile to a pumpkin pie. It's a really great flavor profile. And then 1 teaspoon of ginger. Beautiful. All right, so we'll get all of those mixed together. That's all of our dry ingredients for our cookie. So we'll make sure that's mixed really well. We don't want to have any pockets of seasoning in a cookie, so make sure that you've got all of those dry ingredients incorporated well together, just so, okay? Really nice and mixed. Just like that. All right, so then I'm gonna set that to the side and we'll work on our wet ingredients. Now, as I said before, butter, sugar are both wet ingredients. You wanna cream those things together. If you have a mix-up and you put your sugar in with your dry ingredients, it's okay, don't start over. It's totally fine. The main reason that we do sugar in with our fats is because it does dissolve, and so we get that nice cream base with the sugar incorporated, and then gradually add our flour. It's an easier mixture to make. Sometimes when we mix our sugar with our powder, it causes the powdered ingredients to clump more, and so it's better if you can do the sugar with the wet ingredients. It's usually easier to incorporate. So we're doing 1/4 a cup of butter, which is 1/2 stick of butter. I'm just gonna use my shortening spoon here to scrape this out. So 1/2 stick of butter, room temperature, nice and soft. Oh yeah. And then we're doing half a cup of shortening. Like I said, shortening is going to give us that nice crisp edge, but still a nice chewy cookie. A major thing to remember when you're baking these cookies is not to over bake them. If you bake them too long, you will get a ginger snap. It will be a crunchy, crunchy cookie if you over bake it, because it is a shortening base. So the recipe says 9 minutes, 8 or 9 minutes. They will be very soft until they cool. This cookie sets up as it cools. So it will look soft when you first pull it out of the oven, but it should be done baking around 9 minutes. It should get some nice cracks. Now, if your cookies don't crack, they're not quite done yet. Your oven maybe has a slightly different temperature than mine, but typically for mine, 9 minutes is the perfect amount of time to bake. Should get some nice cracks, start to look nice and dry on the top. Pull them out, let them cool and set up before you try to move them off the cookie sheet or off the parchment paper, okay? So I have my butter and my shortening there, and I'm gonna add in 1/4 a cup of molasses. Now there are different kinds of molasses. It really doesn't matter too much. Some molasses has a stronger, more unfiltered flavor. So just be aware of that. If you have questions, feel free to send me a message. This is my go-to because it's easy to find. But we're gonna do 1/4 a cup of molasses, which is also 4 tablespoons. So 1/4 a cup of that molasses. I'm just gonna scrape this out. This is really thick like honey. So you kind of have to scrape it out of your measuring cup, okay? All right, so then I'm gonna mix this together. Cream it all nice and pasty, just like that, okay? And then we're gonna do 1 cup of brown sugar. I have a small bag here, so I'm just gonna do a few small scoops. With brown sugar, we wanna make sure we pack that because of the moisture in there. Okay, so we're doing 1 cup. And 4, okay. And get that all mixed together nice and pasty, okay? Now this dough we are going to chill. You're gonna want to chill this for about an hour so that the dough can be handled. This is a pretty sticky dough, so sticking it into the fridge will help it set up because you're gonna wanna roll this in a ball similar to what you did with snickerdoodles. We're gonna roll this in a ball and we're gonna roll it in sugar, just regular granulated sugar. We're gonna roll it until it's nice and coated. But you want to chill the dough for about an hour. It'll make it easier to handle. It also helps so that the cookies stay nice and round and small. If you bake it, you can bake them without chilling. They're more likely to flatten out. So to keep it a little bit thicker of a cookie so it stays nice and chewy in the middle, you want to chill it first. If you bake them right away without chilling them, they're gonna spread out more and it's gonna be a lot crisper of a cookie instead of chewy in the center. So if you want the crisp on the outside, chewy in the middle, chill your dough for about an hour before you bake them. All right, last I need an egg. I'm gonna grab that out of the refrigerator. Okay. All right, just 1 egg right into our creamy butter mixture right there. Okay, 1 egg, get that all mixed in. My kids are home. Oh, they went to the park. All right. We get that egg all mixed in there. Kind of soupy looking, that's okay. And then we're gonna add this powdered mixture. So like usually I would say add about half. Makes it easier to make sure it's fully incorporated and you don't have any lumping. If you do about half your mixture at a time, okay? Just like that. And just get that all nice and mixed in. Okay. Scraping those sides, going all the way to the bottom. Really great. Okay. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest. Oh, it smells so good. These make me think of fall. Although these are one of my husband's favorites, so he would take them any time of year, but they make me think of fall. All right, we're gonna get that all incorporated. Sometimes because of the molasses, the batter is pretty thick, and so if it's really hard to mix, don't worry. Just keep going. Eventually all of that flour is going to incorporate. That molasses just makes it really thick and sticky. Okay. Do not add any extra moisture to this. It should be thick and pasty, so don't worry. There we go. Super. All right, so you can kind of see just like that. So now at this point, you would want to cover this so that it doesn't crust and stick it in your refrigerator for about an hour, okay? Then at that point, when you take it out, it's going to be a little bit more solid, okay? Right now it's pretty soft still. It will set up some after it's been in the refrigerator. You're gonna roll it into a ball like this. Take some granulated sugar, drop it in there, toss it around so it's fully coated, and then you're gonna stick it onto your parchment paper. You can use cooking spray if you don't want to use parchment paper. Give them a little bit of space because they are going to spread out. They won't spread out quite as much if you chill the dough, but they do spread out. I usually do 2 fingers in between, so I'll measure 2 fingers and then put the next one down, okay? And just do that till your pan is full. You're going to bake those at 350. 9 minutes in my oven is perfect. You can kind of play around with yours. They should get some really nice cracks on the top. Look dry on the top. In the crack, it might still look a little bit wet. That's okay. Now, if it looks really wet still, I would give it an extra minute, but they are going to set up as they cool. So don't be fooled thinking they're not done because they look soft. 9 minutes in my oven is perfect. Your oven might be a little bit different, but too much longer than that and they do become hard and crunchy instead of soft and chewy in the middle. So you might need to play around with how long in your oven. But like I said, nice cracks along the top, not so shiny on the top looking. They shouldn't look so wet, and then let them fully cool before you pull them off of the pan. Okay? Send me a message as always if you have any questions. You can also post in the classroom. I'm happy to help you out, anything that you need. Otherwise, enjoy your cookies and have a good day.